So this is why it's important to check first. I'm not endorsing the brand or anything, but these are some ceiling speakers that I've had pretty good experience with. I've actually got 2 sets installed in the house already. I think the part of the installation that made this the coolest is the fact that I can control my stereo through my phone because it's connected to my Wi-Fi network. So, for example, if I wanted to turn on the stereo in the kitchen, I can select kitchen, hit power button, and all of a sudden we've got tunes down here. And then of course I can pick and choose what zone I'm turning on as well, so I can have the kitchen, or I've got 2 other speakers in the bathroom. But what I'm wanting to do is install 2 more in the living room ceiling. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how I did that and how I was able to fish the wire and get everything sorted out. I haven't even opened this box yet. So we'll go step by step and I'll show you guys how you install something like this in your house in a retrofit application where, you know, your walls are up and everything is already here, and the finished product, you know, you don't have any idea how the guy did it. That's kind of what I'd like to accomplish. I did have to make 1 hole because this was a really goofy scenario, but that was the only hole that was required for the installation of those 2 speakers. So I'll kind of show you guys how I go about planning for it, what steps I take, and the process to install these suckers. And it's pretty much as easy as cutting a circle and jamming a speaker in, minus the wire you gotta get in there, but should be alright. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. So I'm going to install some ceiling speakers here in my living room. I've already got 2 set up in the kitchen and 2 in my upstairs bathroom. The stereo receiver that I have has a dual zone output, so I can choose zone 1, which is the bathroom upstairs, or zone 2, which is the kitchen downstairs. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these extra 2 speakers, but I'm going to tie them into the zone 2 so they'll come on with the kitchen, which is just 2 rooms over. Basically, the ceiling that I've got to work with here, it's a fancy textured ceiling that would be very difficult to repair. So in the event I had to make a hole to fish something and then try to patch it after, it wouldn't look very nice. So I've really only got 1 shot to make this right. Having some knowledge of the area that you're working in is definitely a benefit in this scenario. I'm not just going to start cutting and hoping that everything fits and works, because that's not how you go about retrofitting something. When you're trying to retrofit something, you have to be thinking. You can't just do it. In this scenario, I know I've already retrofit these pot lights and this ceiling fan a year and a half or 2 years ago. Basically, I have a pretty good idea as to how I can get the wiring for these speakers installed without any issues. The television's in the corner, and I already know that inside that wall, approximately here, I sent down an HDMI cable. That HDMI cable goes from my computer tower upstairs in the closet down to the TV. So then I can bring the keyboard and mouse down here, and I can be on the computer using this as my monitor. Which tells me then, in that same closet, I've got access into this cavity straight across the living room ceiling. So if I was to install 1 speaker here, somewhere maybe in the center of this trim, so it looks like it was done on purpose, and the second speaker here in the same area, again, so it looks on purpose, the same distance off the wall, I should be able to make this work. I know that the ceiling joists or floor joists are running from side to side in this scenario. I know that there's no obstructions inside this ceiling as far as plumbing, heating, and cooling are concerned. I also know that this is drywall that was installed over top of lath board. So when I do cut a hole, it is a pain in the butt. What I'm going to do is open up one of my pot lights. Those are retrofit style pot lights. They just have a spring clip. They're easy to take down. From there, I can get a measurement and figure out where my next floor joist is. And from there, I can make an educated decision as to where I'm going to park these speakers. We're going to open up these speakers and take a look at what we've got to work with. They come with a template that I'm going to need to use in order to get these mapped out accurately on the ceiling. Here we go. Just 2 ceiling speakers. And now, this is the templates I need to use. Again, this is the 3rd set of these that I've installed in the house, so I'm relatively familiar with the workings of them and how to get them in without causing any crazy damages. It's a nice product. So the grill is pressure fit. Once you press it on there, it does hold and it stays on there pretty well. Doesn't give you any issues. The tweeters are adjustable, so you can kind of direct them in the area you want that sound to carry. On the back end of the speaker, everything is pretty well solidly mounted. The input wires for the speaker itself are just underneath the speaker terminals. It's very easy to use. And then it's got 4 Phillips head set screws. And these are the legs that ultimately lock this sucker into the ceiling. So you cut a circular hole, and then what happens is you slide this into the cavity of the hole that you cut. By loosening these screws, you loosen the legs. What happens is when you go to tighten these down, they're held open and they basically pinch between the top layer of the drywall and the bottom layer of the drywall. It basically makes a seal that is removable. So you can loosen these off and take them back out. You do have to fight to get it there, but it is possible. It's not the end of the world. So these things do, like I said, I'm pretty happy with these. They work pretty darn good in my experience. So we're going to get some stuff mapped out on the ceiling. I'm going to figure out where the other floor joist is so I can actually install these, because obviously, if you can't tell already, you do need some depth. If I was to cut a hole and have a floor joist in the middle of the hole that I cut, well, I can't install this speaker without starting to hack into the framing members of the house, which is not a good idea. You don't want to do that. So, I am going to do some measuring, get my ladder, and start figuring out where the placement of these is going to be.